Getting on with our positional rankings, today we're going to be hopping into the top 10 relief pitchers in all of baseball. So pretty simple concept here. Now let's hop right into these rankings. Coming in at number 10, I have Blake Treinen of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Treinen has been a very good reliever throughout his career, and last year was no different. He pitched in 72 1/3 innings where he pitched to a 1.99 ERA, had 85 punchouts to go along with 7 saves and a 2.4 WAR. And just a couple years back in 2018, when Treinen was on Oakland, he had an unreal season. In 80-plus innings, he pitched to a .78 ERA while locking down 38 saves and finished 6th in the American League Cy Young voting. And honestly, with the way Treinen looked last year, it looks like he could be in for another sub-2 ERA season this year in 2022. His slider is unreal. It's up there with the best in all of baseball, and like I said, I would not be surprised to see him have another amazing season this year. Moving on, at number 9, I have Craig Kimbrel of the Chicago White Sox. Now, Kimbrel had a pretty up and down season last year. He was pitching with the Chicago Cubs in the first half of the season before he got traded to the White Sox at the deadline. In the first half of the season with the Cubs, he pitched to a .49 ERA. But in the second half with the White Sox, he wasn't the same pitcher as he pitched to a 5.09 earned run average. And one reason why I think Kimbrel struggled so much with the White Sox is because he was in the setup role, pitching in the 8th inning ahead of Liam Hendriks. And for those of you who have been following baseball for a long time now, know that Craig Kimbrel is one of the best closing pitchers of this generation. He's never had to deal with pitching in the 8th inning, so I think that really threw him off. But going forward, I think he's going to either go into the 9th inning role again or get a little bit more comfortable with the 8th inning role. So I think he's going to revert back to what he was with the Cubs in the first half of the season, not pitching to a sub-1 ERA, but I think he'll be a lot better than he was in the second half with the White Sox. Kimbrel is an 8-time All-Star. He is a stud. I still think he has a lot left in the tank, and I have him coming in at number 9. Moving on, at number 8, I have Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers. Ever since making his debut back in 2019, Williams has clearly been one of the best relievers in the game. Back in 2020, he won the Rookie of the Year award where he did only pitch in 27 innings, but in those 27 innings, he had a .33 ERA. Last year, Williams was again very good as he pitched in 54 innings where he pitched to a 2.5 ERA with 87 strikeouts to go along with a 1.6 WAR. Now, Williams isn't currently the closer as Josh Hader closes out games for Milwaukee, but Williams is as good of a setup man you are going to find in the game today. I think Williams is in for another dominant season, and I have him coming in at number 8. Moving on, at number 7, I have Kenley Jansen of the Los Angeles Dodgers. After a couple of off seasons, Jansen last year bounced back and had a sub-2.5 ERA. He pitched in 69 innings where he had a 2.22 ERA to go along with 86 punchouts, 38 saves, and a 2.3 WAR. Jansen's been known as one of the best closers in the game for a pretty long time now. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's had multiple seasons with a sub-2 ERA, and he's still really a very good pitcher. Jansen is getting up there in age as he is heading into his age 34 season, and his stuff might not be as good as it once was, but he is still definitely one of the better relievers in the game today. Moving on, at number 6, I have Aroldis Chapman of the New York Yankees. Chapman is similar to Jansen in the sense that he's been around for a pretty long time now and is known as one of the best closers in the game. He has had 4 separate seasons where he has had a sub-2 ERA. He's been famously known as having one of the most dominant fastballs in the game as he's had multiple fastballs clock in at over 105 miles an hour. Last year, Chapman pitched in 56-plus innings where he had a 3.36 ERA to go along with 97 punchouts, 30 saves, and a 1.5 WAR. And Chapman is getting up there in age, and he might not be what he once was, but Chapman, even not at his best, is still better than most relievers in the game. He's a really good reliever for New York. He's a 7-time All-Star, and I have him coming in at number 6. Moving on, at number 5, I have Ryan Pressly of the Houston Astros. Pressly started his career out in Minnesota, where he spent the majority of his career until he got traded to Houston, where he first became a closer. And while he notched 12 saves in 2020, last year was his first full year as a closer. He pitched in 64 innings where he had a 2.25 ERA to go along with 81 strikeouts, 26 saves, and a 1.9 WAR. Last year, Pressly was named to his second All-Star team, and he seems to be only getting better with age. And in my opinion, Pressly is an extremely underrated closer. He doesn't seem to get the love that some of the other players do on this list, and I think it's because he's not necessarily the most exciting player in the world and he doesn't have wipeout stuff. But he can pick his corners, he has great accuracy and is a very smart ball player, and I think he's one of the top 5 closers in the game today, and I have him coming in at number 5. At number 4, I have Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians. Last year, at only 23 years old, Clase was dominant. He pitched in 69 and 2/3 innings where he had a 1.29 ERA to go along with 74 punchouts, 24 saves, and a 2.8 WAR. Clase finished 5th in the American League Rookie of the Year voting, which is pretty tough, honestly, because when you have a season as dominant as he did, you're most likely going to at least finish top 3 in the Rookie of the Year voting. But that takes nothing away from Clase's dominant season last year. Considering he is only 23 years old, it wouldn't be a shock to me to see him pitch just as well and maybe even better than he did this year, and I think he's going to have a very successful big league career. Moving on at number 3, I have Raisel Iglesias of the Los Angeles Angels. Iglesias is one of those pitchers that has been criminally underrated throughout his career. He has never made an all-star team despite having a sub 2.75 ERA in 5 of his 7 big league seasons. And last year was another great season from Iglesias as he pitched in 70 innings where he had a 2.57 ERA to go along with 103 punchouts, 34 saves, and a 2.8 WAR. Iglesias might not be in that top tier of closers, but he is right below it. All in all, Iglesias is a very good closer, and I have him coming in at number 3. Moving on at number 2, I have Liam Hendriks of the Chicago White Sox. Early on in his career, Hendriks had an extremely rocky start, and at one point it seemed like he didn't have a future in the big leagues. That was until 2016 where he arrived in Oakland and started to settle down a bit. Just a couple years later in 2019, Hendriks emerged as Oakland's closer as he pitched to a 1.8 ERA where he had 25 saves and was named to his first All-Star team. And ever since then, Hendriks has not looked back. Last year was his first season in Chicago, and he did not disappoint. He pitched in 71 innings where he had a 2.54 ERA to go along with 113 punchouts, 38 saves, and a 2.6 WAR. Hendriks is extremely dominant. He's finished top 10 in the Cy Young 2 separate times. He's also a 2-time All-Star. He's just a really good closer, and I have him coming in at number 2. And moving on at number 1, the best relief pitcher in all of baseball, it has to be Josh Hader. Ever since making his debut back in 2017, Hader has been just on another level. Last year was no different as he pitched in 58 and 2/3 innings where he had 34 saves to go along with a 1.23 ERA, 102 punchouts, and a 3.4 WAR. He's a 3-time All-Star and he's still only 27 years old, so we might not have even seen the best of Hader yet. And Hader is so good that he's been in the Cy Young talks the past couple seasons. Outside of 2020 was a little bit of a down year. But when you're a reliever and you find yourself in the Cy Young conversation, that's when you know you're really good. Milwaukee arguably has the best bullpen in the game today, and Hader is a huge reason why. He's as dominant as it gets. He is almost automatic when it comes to closing out games in the 9th inning, and I have him coming in at number 1. So there you have my top 10 relievers in baseball. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm sure we're going to have plenty of disagreements here because obviously there's a lot of relievers in baseball and there is a lot of talented relievers as well. But anyways, if you guys do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to continue to post a lot more baseball videos here as we head closer to the 2022 season. And lastly, I want to thank you guys again for all the support on all these videos, and I will see you next time.